So we're going to start this morning in a seated position, so you can sit on the blocks. It's going to take a little bit of time to tune ourselves in, calm ourselves down, and start to find that center a little bit more. So letting go of the week and the day, thinking about the moment rather than the past or the future. Seeing how the body feels, noticing any tight spots, maybe giving a little bit of a stretch, the gentle ones. And then closing the eyes. And letting the breath develop. And see what it is. What have you come with to the mat today? Now, slowly move out of that, keeping the breath nice and soft and gentle. I'm going to come onto my knees, and having the knees a little bit apart, sitting back onto the heels. You can use that block underneath if you wish. And we're bringing the hands underneath the shoulders and giving them a nice stretch out in the finger department. So we're practicing cat's paws. We want to start to press the knuckle joints into the floor a little bit and extend the fingers out. We spend so much time with the hands sort of curled around grasping things that stretching them out does feel quite strong. This is not really much different from spending the day sitting crouched over a computer and then trying to stand back up straight. Same process, just different part of the body. We'll take the fingers to point outwards, so thumbs are forwards. Just increasing the work through the wrists a little bit. It's a little trickier to press that index knuckle down into the floor. It takes a little bit more focus on the thumb. And then we'll see what we can do in terms of turning the hands so the fingers are towards us, thumbs are outside. Now you can walk the hands a little bit further forward so you increase that angle rather than being completely vertical in the forearms, but you want to try and keep the heel of the hand on the ground. So if it's lifting, you want to just bring it a little bit closer back in. So hopefully a nice big stretch that starts somewhere around where the watch strap would be and runs up into the forearm, into the elbows. We'll take a little breath, draw the belly in, And let ourselves lift up and just shake out the hands a couple of times. Definitely need that after that. And then we'll come down onto the floor. We're going to take low cobra. So we ease ourselves down onto our bellies. And then just bring the hands underneath the shoulders and have the feet out about hip distance apart. Bootlaces down. So the heels are slightly out, toes are slightly in. And we roll the shoulders back a little bit before we start. And then on the inhale, we're just gently lifting the spine and exhaling back down. So there's very little weight in the hands. We keep the bottom rib connected. It's a slow, progressive movement that allows you to discern how much effort you put through the glutes and how much you press through the legs and the thighs down to the floor. You can squeeze the shoulder blades together a little bit at the top. Now you can actually take the hands a little bit further back and lift. That makes it a little easier to squeeze the shoulder blades together. And we'll come back down to the floor. We're going to take serpentine cobras. So we're going to move the hands right back underneath the shoulders again. This is where we take the right shoulder up, then lift the chest. Let the left shoulder lift up, start to drop right shoulder and chest down back to the floor. And then inhale up. The opposite way around. Exhale into the drop down. And lifting back up. So again, nice smooth movements, feeling the shoulder blades rolling around across the ribs. Getting that little bit of stretch in the spine as well. So about another 30 seconds or so. And we'll take the last side. And back down to the floor. And take the hands down towards the bottom of the ribs. Peel away gently and bring the knees forwards. Spin the feet out to the side a little bit. I'm going to roll onto our backs. I'm going to take a little breath from here. I'm going to take my block towards the back of the mat. I just find that easier on my neck these days. And knees high, hands behind, draw the belly in a little bit as you exhale on the way down. Now, bring the feet in close to your bottom and touching on the center line, and we'll draw the right knee in and just take the hand either around the shin or the back of the thigh and slide easily the left leg out. You want to press the heel of the left foot away and have the toes point to the sky and spread them out a little bit. You can draw the belly into the spine. Let the spine flatten out a little, so those natural curves just start to disappear. And we'll let the right knee start to travel towards the right armpit. And we'll draw that left foot back in. Bring both feet to the floor close to the bottom and draw left knee towards the body. Again, just taking hold of whatever part of your anatomy is easy to find. Lengthen out the right leg. Just try to be conscious it goes down the center line, not out to the sides. Little internal rotation, lengthening of the leg, drawing the belly into the spine. When that leg is settled, we can then start to take our focus a little more into the left leg and ease that towards the armpit. So it starts to slide out to the side a little bit, that's fine. And then we can release from there. We'll bring the feet back in, find our friendly strap, unravel that. Going to take it around the sole of the right foot, so bridging across the little toe and the big toe joint. Strap is bound through the hands loosely, so as you extend your leg up, the strap will slide around the fists a little bit, and then you can just use your fingers to give it a little bit of break when you want to. And try and let the shoulders relax down towards the floor, straight arms. We'll use that to open out the back of the legs. So we're not really pressing the heel or pulling the leg in any particular way. We're letting the arms do the opening for us. Then we'll release and cross over to the other side. So very conscious that we're not putting a lot of effort into stretching the hamstring out. Rather than us trying to get to a point, just letting the leg kind of find its own place. So looking towards a very restorative stretch into the hamstrings, glutes and the lower back, so they're all connected. And then we release. And just move the strap out to the side. Bring the feet back in close to the body again. We're going to take the arms out wide like a crucifix, palms face up, and extend the right leg up towards the sky. Cross over the thighs and bring the foot back down. We're going to try and wrap that foot underneath the calf of the opposite leg. To do that, you need to got cramp there. Lift the legs off of the ground and just wrap around. And then take a little breath. I've got a cramp twice, unexpected. And we'll take the right arm up and the left arm over the top. And just bend the elbows. Bring the elbows in towards the body. It came from nowhere. And I'll release out and see if we can cross over the other way without getting cramp. So just taking that left leg up, crossing over, lifting, draw the belly in a little bit. See if we can wrap the foot underneath. And then the left arm comes up, right arm over the top. And Let those elbows draw down towards the chest. It gives the shoulders a little bit more of a chance to open up. And we release out of that supine eagle pose. Just stretch both legs up towards the sky. Flex the feet backwards and forwards a few times. Draw the knees in towards the chest. And then we're going to roll gently onto our right side. Use the hands to press into the floor to lift back up. So from here, I'm just going to cross the ankles over and roll forwards gently. Come up onto all fours. I'm going to take a child's pose. I'm going to keep the knees relatively close together, about hip distance apart, shins are parallel, and then sit gently back. So again, if that's tricky on the knees, take the block underneath the back of the thighs. And we're going to see if we can let the forehead come to the ground. Probably need to bring your hands underneath your head, take the elbows out wide, or even possibly use the block underneath the head if you're not using it already. So having eased our way in, we're just going to breathe into the belly and watch as that stretches our lower spine and our glutes out for us. It does take a little bit of effort to breathe into the belly. Your body might feel that there's not enough space there, but you will get some movement. Diaphragm is extremely strong muscle. And we'll take the hands forwards again. We'll lift up and we're just going to move into some cat-cow. So just spreading the fingers out, hands underneath the shoulders, and then draw the chest forwards, tailbone tucks towards the sky, tilt the pelvis, roll the spine, draw the belly in, round the shoulders out, and let the head drop. Inhale forwards. And exhale it out. Now your breath might be slower or stronger than mine, and there's a possibility that you might prefer to exhale on the way forwards and inhale on the way up, the opposite way to the way I discussed it. The secret really is, as long as you're breathing in and out, you're going to get the stretch through the spine, and the discs will start to mobilize a little bit. So it's all good. We're going to bring ourselves into our first down dog. So I really want the fingers right up near the front of the mat. And then just tuck the toes underneath, lift the knees gently away from the floor and step it into a very easy down dog. You can walk the dog out if that feels good, or you could take a three-legged dog if you felt that was a better stretch for your spine. You might decide that actually you want to be quite steady in the pose and not moving around. So you might just take a small, simple bend in the knees, bring the thighs a little bit more vertical from the angle, and letting the spine stretch out a little bit more, letting the chest and the shoulders open up. You might want to focus on sending the heels towards the back of the mat and stretching out the back of the calves more. And since that's where I got cramp, that's what I'm going to do. I'll take a little breath from here and draw the right knee in towards the chest and bring the foot through between the hands. You can use your hands to get there. You want to check your front knee is over your ankle. And you're going to lift up on the fingertips. Try and drop the heel down, sorry, the hips down. So the hip is at least in line with the knee. That's what we're trying to get to. So you've got a nice 90 degree. And I'm still pressing out through the back heel so that the heel points up towards the sky and lengthens out. And you'll feel the hip flexor on that side really open out as you take a few focused breaths into stretching that leg. We'll take a little breath from here, push off the toes and come into forward fold. Bring the hands onto the hips. Let ourselves lift up slowly with a flat back and soft knee. Just bringing the hands in towards the heart, keeping it simple. Exhale back down to the floor. We'll step it back into that down dog. And we'll draw the left knee in, bring that foot through. Take the best lunge we can. Now to lift the chest a little bit. It's lifting the chest rather than pulling the head. The head more or less stays in line with where your spine is. Again, working into that back leg, feeling the front hip flexors open. And then we'll push off the toes into the forward fold. Hands onto the hips again, soft knees and flat back to lift. And again, just bringing the hands in towards the heart, nice and simple. Exhale down to the floor. Taking a little breath. Take the left foot to the back of the mat into that lunge and drop the back knee down onto the floor. Walking the fingers back towards the line of the heel, so now behind the shoulders. We're going to lift the chest up and then slowly press into the front leg and let ourselves lengthen back. Now, when you get to the point where your toes start to need to lift off of the floor, you're going to flex your foot up towards the sky. Good. Try and keep the fingers on the floor where you were and lift the chest forwards, drawing the belly in. So we are starting to sit back into the rear leg and pressing the shin down into the floor as much as we're stretching out the front leg. We're trying to keep the body as long as we can. Now, obviously, there's a certain amount of mechanics there as to whether you've got short arms, long legs, and all sorts of things like that. And then we'll slowly come forwards. Bring the hands with us, take a little breath. Step it back into our down dog. And then this time we'll bring the left foot through to the front of the mat. Drop the back knee down. Bring the fingers back. Take a little breath. Untuck the toes on the back. Ease our way gently. Find a little bit of space. Get the lift in the body first. Roll the toes away from the floor so you just sit that little bit further back, foot flexed. Pressing the back shin into the ground just a little. Now, obviously, the toes and the leg want to be pointing towards the sky rather than rolling out to the side. And we're trying to keep the groins over the center line at the same time. Take a last breath and bring ourselves into the front of the mat. Again, just walking the fingers through. Tuck the toes on the back, lift the knee, and then step into that forward fold. We'll take a little breath here and just let ourselves hang down, keeping the fingers on the floor. Or if you wish, you can make a little hammock with the arms, so taking hold of the elbows and then allowing yourself to rest your head, or the crown of your head, on your forearms. Now you do that with quite a substantial bend in the knees, so the ribs are actually resting on the thighs. For some of us, that will need a very big bend. What you don't want to be is sort of hanging halfway down and halfway not on the thighs, because that will put more stress into the lower back. Once you've got your ribs and your thighs to connect, it's taking a little bit of weight, the spine will feel easier, the back muscles will feel easier. The hamstrings, they'll just be working like crazy. You'll definitely feel them. As the hamstrings lengthen, you might find that you can press into the feet a little more and get the bottom to lift just that fraction. But you do that without lifting the ribs from the thighs. So if you start to feel the gap increasing, then you've done a little bit more than you need. And some of us will have very straight legs, and some of us will have very bendy legs. Take a little breath from here. Let the hands back down to the floor. Lift up halfway. Take a breath in. Bring the hands over the hips, and then slowly lift the rest of the way up. We'll take the hands to the sky this time, inhaling. Tailbone down towards the floor, belly in. Hands come through the heart, and we exhale down to the ground. And we'll step the right leg back. And we'll step the left leg back into a plank. The knees come to the floor. I'm going to drop the chest between the hands, so draw the belly in. Let the elbows come back, chest to the floor, chin to the ground, and then slide the feet away so the belly comes to the ground. On the inhale, we'll lift up gently into that low cobra and just squeeze the shoulder blades back. Ease our way down. Try and keep the legs connected to the floor at all times. And we'll come up for a last time. And we'll bring the hands to the bottom of the ribs. Draw the shoulders back. Exhale away from the floor. And we'll sit back onto those heels into child's pose. Let the head come to the ground. Arms stay out straight. Elbows away from the floor. Belly drawn in a little bit. Nice deep breaths into the side of the ribs. And we'll lift slowly back up onto all fours. Bring the shoulders over the wrists. Roll the shoulders back a little bit. Then you can tuck the toes and lift into your down dog. We'll draw the right knee in towards the chest and bring that through to the front of the mat. Lift onto the fingertips. You now lunge. Press off the toes into the forward fold, bending in. Bring the hands onto the hips, lengthen the chest forwards. And then soft knees and a flat back to lift up. And if you've walked away from the front of the mat, just bring yourself back in. We'll take that one more time. Inhale up. Hands into the heart. Exhale down slowly. We'll lead with the left and the right into the plank. Let the knees come to the floor. Take a little breath, draw the belly in. Roll the shoulders back. Chest to the ground. Slide the feet away. So one nice smooth movement really. Inhaling up. For low cobras. Exhaling down. Inhaling up. If you felt the urge to supplement this with the serpentine cobra again, you could do. One last lift. And hands to the bottom of the ribs. Press back. Sit back onto the heels again. Taking ourselves into that long child's pose. And we start to lift up on the exhale, draw the belly in a little bit, shoulders over wrists and drawn back. And we can tuck the toes underneath, lift into that down dog. We'll draw the left knee in this time, bring that foot through. Into our lunge, push off the toes, back to the front of the mat. And lift up slowly. Bring the hands in towards the heart as you breathe in, and we'll just take a little step out to the left. So just taking the feet nicely wide. We'll make a little star shape with our bodies, taking the hands out, and then we'll turn the feet towards the front of the mat. Now we're going to bring the knee over the ankle. Take a little breath. As we're looking forwards, we're going to straighten the front leg, being careful not to jam into the knee. We'll sink it back down so the knee comes over the ankle again rather than further forwards, and lift it back up. So it's just a little pulse. It's a slow movement, following the breath. You might find that you want to lengthen out your warrior two. That's fine. You can always wiggle the toes forwards or back wherever you need to. And then we'll come into the last move forwards into warrior two. We turn the palm on the front hand up for reverse warrior. I'm going to wrap the rear hand around and see if I can get fingers towards that front thigh, or at least that front hip. You can always take the hand onto the back of the pelvis if you wish, and then lengthen the top arm over towards the back of the mat. Come back into our warrior two. And extend over that front thigh, keeping the knee in position and taking the extended side angle. So we're going to lift the top arm up and then turn the palm forwards and extend out. You try and keep your neck and your head in line with the rest of the torso. You're actually lifting away from the front thigh and just using that front arm to press into the groin a little bit. Now from here, we're going to turn the chest and bring the hand down to the floor. And let both hands come on to the inside of the front foot. Spin the heel, so we're into that nice long lunge. And walk the fingers around slowly into a wide leg extended forward fold. So turning the toes in if they haven't come with you politely. Lengthen the spine forwards. We're just going to keep it up on the fingertips. Drawing the chest forwards. Just allow yourself to spread the toes a little bit. Get a good connection with the foot onto the floor, so the weight is even through the whole of the foot rather than just pushing into the edges. It's a little bit of feeling of squeezing the groins together in this pose, keeping the belly in. We'll take a little breath from here, walk the fingers around to the front end of the mat again. And try a lunge again. So we lift up nice and tall with the chest, strong back leg. Push off the toes into the forward fold. We'll hang down again. Again, the option of fingers on floor or making yourself a little hammock. Your choice. toes, we're always trying to lift the hips a little higher. The easiest way to do that is to press down to the feet, draw the belly in and hope the hips follow. We'll take another breath here and bring the hands onto the hips, soften the knees, lengthen the chest forwards and lift our way up. Bring the hands in towards the heart. Take the step out to the opposite side, to that nice big star shape. And then when you're ready, we'll turn the toes into the front of the mat. We'll sink into our warrior two. Get a little adjust. And then we'll straighten the front leg as we inhale up. And exhale it down. Still trying to keep the weight in the back foot. It's easier to take the focus purely into the front leg, but we still want the feeling of the buttocks lifting on that back leg a little bit, the thigh doing some work. We'll come up and down one more time. Turn the palm on that front hand, and again, just take that reversed warrior. We'll come back out of that into our warrior two. We'll lengthen over the front thigh. Take the top arm up towards the sky and then turn the palm forwards as we lengthen the hand out. Open the chest. And then we'll bring the hands down as we turn the chest gently. We come into both hands being on the inside of the leg and then letting the back heel lift up. So we're just holding tiger pose. So very gently pressing the arm and the leg on the front together whilst pressing out through the heel. And then we'll slowly walk the hands around to the long side of the mat. Turn the toes in. And this time we're going to allow ourselves to twist the spine a little bit and move. So we're going to bring the right hand on the floor underneath the chest. And turn the body towards the left and then allow the arm to lengthen up. Bring the hand back down as you exhale. Swap the hands over. Turn the body, draw the elbow up first, and then extend the arm out so the hand follows. And then coming back down again. Inhaling. And exhaling down. Trying to keep the spine nice and long. We'll take it one more time to each side. Walking the fingers around to the front end of the mat again. We're into our lunge. Now we'll step from our lunge back into down dog. And we'll slowly come into a plank, and we're going to drop the knees down to the floor and come into Sphinx pose. So allow the elbows to come down to the ground. Measure them out to be about shoulder distance apart, palms facing down, and then walk the legs away. Slowly drop the belly to the floor, untucking the toes. Lifting the chest, rolling the shoulders back. Belly is drawn in tight. Try and lengthen the legs away and the buttocks as well. So the idea of lengthening your buttocks down towards your heels is to increase the space in the lumbar area in the lower back. So that there's plenty of space for the discs and the nerves. This is how we make ourselves a little taller. And the shoulders a little broader. And then we're going to bring ourselves down and bring the hands underneath the chin. So the elbows are now slit out to the side, and we'll just wriggle out the hips a little from side to side. So trying to let all the muscles in the spine and the back of the legs, down the sides of the body, the top of the shoulders, even your jaw relaxes. Now we'll come from here into our locust pose. So we'll take the hands back towards the hips, palms face down, and let the chin be on the floor. And we'll inhale the chest, hands and legs and thighs away from the floor, keeping the head in line with the body, and exhale down. Inhale up. And exhale down. It doesn't have to be a big lift. It could be just an inch off the ground. And a slow movement in. And a slow movement out. So it looks like it's effortlessly happening from outside of the body. The experience on the inside might be subtly different. One more time. And we'll bring the hands back underneath the chin. Give it a little rock out from side to side. We're going to make our way into child's pose, and to keep that nice and easy on the spine, we're going to roll onto whichever side you prefer to roll onto, and draw the knees in towards the body. Take a little breath and then press the hands into the floor to lift back up, so it's nice and easy on the spine. I'm going to come into child's pose, taking the knees wide again, sitting on the heels, and we'll walk that into side bends eventually. But we'll take a little time to lengthen the spine out, ease our way through the gap that we've made between the thighs. Hopefully this time the head can reach the floor and work as a little bit of a support for you, but the block is always an option if that's not happening. Belly's drawn in a little bit, making a conscious effort to lengthen the tailbone towards the back of the mat. So we'll lift the head looking towards the hands slowly. And take the hands over into that side bend, nice and easily over to the right side. And then let the head settle down again. So we're resting into the thigh. And using the breath to expand and stretch out down the side of the body. So we're stretching intercostal muscles as well as the latissimus dorsi. And all the muscles in the lower back as well. And then we'll move across to the other side. And we'll come back into the center again. And let ourselves just walk the hands in. So we're going to use the block again, but we're going to be sitting on that. So we'll just take the legs out slowly and bring the block underneath the bottom. Let ourselves lengthen out. Sitting up nice and tall. Hold the shoulders back a little bit. We'll take a seated twist here. So we're going to take that left foot underneath and out to the right side, keeping the hips pointing forwards and knee pointing forwards and that bottom shin down on the ground and the thigh. We'll take the right leg over and bring the foot in close, so you can use your hand to guide that in. Trying to get the foot flat to the floor. And then I'm going to take take my left arm around my right knee and draw the pelvis forwards a little bit so I get some length in the spine. Now, if you're able to hear some knocking going on in the building, that's my next door neighbor. It's not my microphone going funny. And then we'll release and take it into the other side. Once you're ready, we'll take that right arm around the left leg and draw it in. Maybe to try and get that little bit of lift in the pelvis so the spine can follow. Now, I find this a big stretch in that outer hip joint muscle, TFL area. And then we'll release from there as well, taking the legs out. Now I'm going to move gently off of that block, but keeping it still behind me. I'm going to take the hands behind a little bit, have the feet come together, and then I'm going to draw the left leg towards me and take the foot out to the right side. So my knee, my shin is on this side of my knee. My knee is not being pressed into. I'm going to keep the foot flexed and let the knee, left knee sink down towards the floor a little bit more. So I'm just going to give that a little bit of assistance by dropping my arm onto my leg whilst trying to sit up nice and tall. Now, the exciting part, I'm going to try and keep the leg where it was, and is. Take the hands behind, about shoulder distance apart, let yourself lean back, draw the chest up towards the sky, so you're following that line, drawing the belly in, and then we'll slide the right heel in and bring ourselves into a seated figure four. So it might be that getting the sole of the foot on the floor is enough of a stretch in the legs. If you feel that you want to take it a little bit further, you can walk your bottom closer and then bring the hands in, but you're still trying to lift the chest up and shoulders back. And if you feel that you want to come in a little closer, you can do. But remember, you only need to go as far as you feel a bit of stretching taking place. So if you're feeling red hot chili pepper kind of stretching going on, that's not really what we're looking for. We're looking for gentle, livable stretch, something that you can breathe through easily and actually feel the muscles stretching but relaxing at the same time. We'll slowly reverse back out. Legs lengthen out again. Untangle the legs. Bring the feet together, sitting up nice and tall. You might need to rearrange the flesh a little bit. And then I'll bring that right leg in and bring it across. Flex the foot. Again, just give that little bit of assist to letting the knee drop down towards the floor by placing the hand there. Still supporting the foot with the other hand as well. Sitting up as tall as you can. And then we'll bring ourselves into the stretch. So we take the hands back. Remember to lift shoulders back towards the back of the mat. Chest and heart draw up, belly draws in, and then we slide that foot in, making no assumptions that we're going to get to the same place on both sides. I'm still getting cramp in that foot. Even an hour later, still happening. And again, the option, if you feel that you can take that a little deeper, you walk in, just try not to be competitive with yourself. Think of this more as a restorative stretch that we're looking for. And understanding that the hips are different here generally, from one side of the body to the other. And then we're ready to release from that. And we'll just have the knees high. Draw the bottom forwards. Roll down gently. Use a block under the back of the head if you wish. Just make sure it's not pressing into the neck or the shoulders. And we'll gradually lengthen the legs out to the corner edges of the mat. And we'll see if we can do Shavasana whilst the next door neighbour's knocking his windows out. So legs off to just stretch out a little bit, wriggle the shoulders underneath, allow the body to get nice and long, closing the eyes and softening the jaw. Letting the natural curves in the spine sink down towards the floor so the muscles release completely. Let them know it's okay to let go. You don't have to keep holding on to keep you sitting upright any longer. And we'll slowly begin to stretch those fingers and toes. Deepen the breath. Let the wrists and the ankles move in a little bit. Enjoy a big stretch. And then slide the heels back in. Ease yourself into any kind of stretch or hug that feels good. And then we'll let ourselves roll onto the right side. We'll just exhale on the way down. Draw ourselves into a little ball as we breathe in. And then on the very next exhale, allow ourselves to uncurl and use the hands to press into the floor to lift up again smoothly for that spine. Come into a nice seated posture, sitting up tall. Let the hands come in towards the heart as you close your eyes, taking a deeper breath. And let the chin drop and bow gently to the floor, sealing your practice for the morning. Inhaling, letting the body rise. Open the eyes. Namaste. Thank you for joining me. Have a lovely weekend.